We have breaking news right now. Donald Trump has officially signed the Epstein Files bill into law, and he did so begrudgingly because the White House was surprised, blindsided at Senate Republicans who pushed the bill through unanimously, despite the fact that Donald Trump had hoped that there would be amendments in the bill, had hoped that the bill would stall in the United States Senate. Well, it didn't. It didn't. And Donald Trump's efforts to stall, delay the bill failed. And as a result, well, he had to sign it into law. And he did so just minutes ago. This is a historic victory for the survivors, a historic victory for the American people. And right now, in this moment, the survivors are one step closer to getting justice, accountability, and transparency, something they've sought for decades. Now, everyone is asking me, well, what happens if the files aren't actually released? And we're going to get through that right now because people can face prison time all the way up to the Attorney General of the United States of America. So make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to support my work and spread the word. It helps boost this everywhere. So right now, in this moment, Donald Trump has signed the bill. What does the bill require? Well, the bill requires a disclosure of all Epstein-related files, of all Maxwell-related files. There are some prohibitions. For example, they cannot release any victim identifying information. They can't release any child pornography. They can't release any images of violence or physical abuse. But ultimately, they can release almost everything they have. And well, Thomas Massie, one of the bill's sponsors, is making clear that there could be criminal penalties if the files are not fully released by the Department of Justice.
The administration doesn't release what it has. What will you do as the two who led this charge and were the originals that are the reason we're here tonight?
Well, as Rose said, there are criminal penalties if they don't follow the law. And that's the recourse that we would follow. We undertook a very steep hill, a steep climb to get this done. There have been subpoenas, there have been resolutions, there's been an oversight committee. Those are all sort of Mother May I requests to the administration. We decided to do this as a law, which means it has to pass both chambers and even be signed by the man who was opposed to it. At least be presented to him. He could have always vetoed it. And because we're going to overcome all three of those hurdles, our recourse is legal now. These people could eventually go to jail for not releasing these files.
Do you see that? If they don't follow the law, they can go to jail. But Thomas Massie is taking that threat actually one step further. He's saying that if Pam Bondi and the Justice Department do not release the files, then he himself is going to go on the House floor and he's going to start reading the names of Epstein client list associates.
Pretty quick. Now, Manu appears to be talking to Thomas Massie, so maybe we'll just listen in to this for a second.
Right, not just to do a discharge petition and get it passed through the House, but to get the Senate to pass it and get the White House to sign it. We're not there yet, but when we get there, this is not a subpoena. This is a law.
And so you are confident that these documents will ultimately come out, even if the president tries to fight this?
Yes, I'm confident. And that we sort of, we know when they're out because we know what some of these lists, who some of the men are. I don't have the names in my head right now. The ultimate thing that we could do is read the names on the floor of the House, and that could happen. But what needs to happen is the FBI needs to release these names.
Is that something you might do if he resists this, if the DOJ releases this? Could you go to the floor and read these names?
We absolutely would do that. Marjorie would do that. I would do that. There are Democrats who would do that. And but that's not the right path forward. That's the last effort if we hit all of the walls. But so far, we're making it through the walls and over the walls, and we're getting this done.
How much time are you willing to give the president and the administration to release these documents when this becomes law?
I've never set a timeline. The victims have waited a very long time to get justice, and it's really up to them.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Well, I think an important note there is that actually there is a timeline, even though Thomas Massie didn't say it. There is a timeline, and it's 30 days because the bill requires the disclosure of the files by Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Justice Department within 30 days of Donald Trump signing it. He signed it today, so that 30-day clock begins. And well, let's talk about what actually the Justice Department has to release. So here is what's permitted. The Attorney General may withhold or redact the portions of the record that this is what they could withhold. They could withhold any information that contains personally identifiable information of victims or victims' personal and medical files, anything that depicts or contains child sexual abuse material as defined under 18 U.S. Code 2256, anything that would jeopardize an active federal investigation or ongoing prosecution, provided that such withholding is narrowly tailored and temporary, anything that could depict or contain images of death, physical abuse, or any injury of any person, any information or document that could contain information specifically authorized under criteria established by an executive order to be kept secret in the interest of national defense or foreign policy, and are in fact properly classified pursuant to such executive order. By the way, that executive order that people are talking about doesn't exist, right? So there is no executive order that would say that certain documents right now in the Epstein files or in the Maxwell files have to be redacted or withheld on the basis of national security. And even if that ever happens, if the Attorney General makes a determination that covered information may not be declassified and made available in a manner that protects the national security of the United States, including methods or sources related to national security, the Attorney General shall release an unclassified summary for each of the redacted or withheld classified information. And so this is a situation where these files are coming, and they're coming whether or not Donald Trump wants them to. He signed this into law, and this will force the Justice Department to release the files. If the Justice Department doesn't do it, as Thomas Massie has said, as Ro Khanna has said, they could face criminal penalties because this is a law and they would be violating the law. And they can't do that. And if they do try to do that, then Thomas Massie says, you know what, we're going to take the fight directly to the House floor. We're going to go up and we're going to read the names ourselves. And that obviously would be a very historic development. He would be protected under the speech and debate clause in the United States Congress of any possible penalties for reading out the Epstein files names on the House floor. So we'll see what happens. But ultimately, this is a very good day, a very good moment for the survivors who have fought for decades. I've spoken to many of them. This is a joyous occasion. So this should be a positive day for a lot of people, a positive day for the survivors who are one step closer to getting justice, transparency, and accountability. I repeat those three words a lot because that's really what's important in this moment. And it's a fight that I am proud, honestly, to have had the opportunity to help wage, to help just play a small part in amplifying their voices and having their trust in amplifying their voices. So let's see what happens next. I will continue to provide you updates as we get these files, because this is just the beginning. We're about to learn a lot about Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and a lot of powerful people, including but not limited the President of the United States of America. So make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will have another update for you soon. So stay tuned for more and have a great rest of your day. So stay tuned.
Hey folks, Aaron Parnas here. Thank you so much for watching The Parnas Perspective. Please consider subscribing to support our work as we grow this independent news media entity into something that rivals mainstream every single day. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.